Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of Jungle King Tarzan versus the Leopard Man from Tarzan the Epic Adventures by Trendmasters. So I know I said I only had 4 jungle toys to review for this line, but I was a little unhappy with the Leopard Man bendable figure that I reviewed, and I enjoyed every single thing else that I reviewed from this line. So I wanted to give Trendmasters one more try at a Leopard Man action figure, and so I wanted to get the one other figure they put out of a Leopard Man and just see, how this stacks up and if I'm going to be happy with this. And so it comes on the black packaging. Sometimes the Jungle series comes on green, but this is black. It looks nice. And then you got, all the figures on the back. It is worth 2 Tarzan points. And since we have opened things like this before, I'm just going to do that off camera, and we're going to dive right into the review. And here is everything outside of the packaging. And we'll begin with the badge because you've seen that a million times. If you've watched these reviews, it's very nice, but you're going to get a ton of duplicates. You can clip it on or you can use it as a display item. It looks great, but like I said, it just comes with just about all the toys in this line. And he comes with a couple accessories. We have a little bitty knife. And it's a pretty nicely detailed knife. I love the golden hilt, so that's a pretty nice looking knife there. And it comes with a spear that has some nice paint details on it. And it resembles the Lord of the Jungle spear that I got with that figure. So the accessories fit in his hands. The knife fits very tightly in his hand. The spear is a little looser, but you can hold it in his hand using this little tassel to keep it steady, which looks nice. And they both look cool with this figure. As far as articulation goes, his arms move up and down. And this arm is kind of put in there weird. It has very limited movement, even more so than normal on a figure like this. And this one moves much better. But again, not a lot of movement. You got, shoulder pads blocking it. Nothing in the legs and nothing in the head. That's very standard for these 3 3/4 inch tall figures. What is not standard here is this. So, yeah, Tarzan can't stand, which is really weird because this looks almost exactly like the pose that John Carter was in. But for some reason, while that figure could stand and every other figure that is in this 3 3/4 inch size from this line could stand fine on its own, this poor guy just can't. I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with just my figure or maybe just with Jungle King Tarzan. But the others that were on the 3 3/4 inches tall did stand just fine. But, Tarzan, you're just going to have to prop up here. So if you're familiar with Tarzan, you may be asking yourself, what the devil is a Jungle King and what the devil is this armor he's wearing? I can't really help you out much on either. Obviously, jungles, by their very definition, can't be ruled. Lord of the Jungle is just kind of an honorary nickname they give him. It doesn't really have any type of meaning to it. As far as the armor goes, it is described as being Tarmangani Bolshadon armor. Now, Tarmangani is a term in the language of the great apes in the novels for white man. So it's describing Tarzan, saying this is his armor. Bolshadon is not a word in the language of the great apes, at least nothing that I could find when I searched it online. So I'm assuming this is a word that they made up for the language of the great apes. In Japanese, it actually means population, but I really doubt they meant for this to be white man population armor. Though it would be kind of awesome if that was the name of it, white man population armor. So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird armor that they put Tarzan in. There's several variants of him like that. So while these variants of Tarzan and these armors don't really mean much to me as a Tarzan figure, I will say that they are curiously in keeping with what Martian warriors wear. So you've got the cape, you've got a harness, you've got a loincloth, and so if you switch him out with a sword and a blaster, he fits right in with John Carter here, and he looks like, he could be a Martian warrior, whether he's just a warrior from Helium, or maybe he's Cantos Can or Carthoris or Gahan or whoever you want him to be. So let's take a look at the star of the show here, the Leopard Man. So the Leopard Man is a villain that actually does exist in history. They were a secret society that would believe they were possessed by leopards, and they would go out and kill their victims and then eat them, believing that they consumed their essence. And so I'm sure the novels are probably pretty consistent with that. And so these guys would wear leopard skins, and as you can see, that is captured in this figure. And they are pretty nicely painted. There's some nice detailing in the skins. The claws here are one piece. That's a little disappointing, but they're still pretty cool. I mean, they do get the job done. There is a little bit of a paint mishap on the back here. That's unfortunate, but it is the back of the figure, and probably you're not going to display him this way anyway. So the articulation on this guy is definitely limited. These are really pre-posed figures. They have very limited amounts of posing you can get. They're meant to be, kind of the way they are when you get them. And so here he is. He's kind of, kind of approaching you with his claws. He's kind of sharpening them like Wolverine or something, and you can get kind of various poses like that, where he's coming at you with his claws, or I guess you could get him scratching his cheek like that. But that's kind of it. I mean, it's just a very limited range of movement. But, I mean, you can get some really, really cool poses regardless of if they're limited. Because, I mean, good Lord, this is a man dressed as a leopard with giant claws coming at you. I mean, it's hard to mess that up, right? And I will say I really like the sculpting on this guy a lot better than the bendable figure. We'll compare them in a minute. But I think the crazed look works here, and I think the sculpting of the body and all that stuff works. One thing to note, though, he is hunched over, and that's because, of course, he believes he's possessed by a leopard, so he's going to have these kind of animalistic poses and all that. So that's in keeping, but it is, it does make him a little bit small, and, he is always constantly looking down. And here Leopard Man is with Jungle King Tarzan, and they look pretty good together, but Leopard Man is a little bit too small for Tarzan there. That is very common with the villains in this line. For some reason, they're sculpted a little bit smaller than the heroes, but I think either one looks cool on their own anyway. And lastly, since Jungle King Tarzan came with a knife, I wanted to see how it looked like as a princess's dagger for Dija Thoraz, because in the novels, princesses tended to carry daggers that they could, stab their abductors with if anything happened to them. And it looks okay. I thought the gold hilt might go a little better with the gold on Dija Thoraz, but it's a little dull. But it's still an option if you're looking to give Dija, a more novel, accurate dagger. So overall, there's a couple quality control issues, but I still feel like this is a pretty good set. So the paint smearing on the back of the Leopard Man's loincloth doesn't really bother me. Like I said, I'm not really displaying him from the back anyway. Tarzan not being able to stand is a bigger issue, but it's, something you can just prop him up and get past that. To me, Leopard Man is the big draw here. Tarzan, I mean, like I said, if you want an extra Martian warrior in your collection, I think, switch him out with a sword and a blaster, and I think he fits right in there. But Leopard Man, I am super, super glad to add, because he just looks really cool just slinking around. I'm just wanting him to, like, slink around my collection looking for his next victim. He just looks kind of sinister and kind of cool. So, happy with that. And so there's only one toy I have left of Tarzan the Epic Adventures I have not opened, and this is it. So join us next time for a epic review of the Lord of the Jungle Treasure of the Lost City micro playset from Tarzan the Epic Adventures. See ya.